Hello everyone, I'm Jessica Kurgo. I'd like to welcome you all to this installment of Walpole Media's new original series, Civic Chats. Today we're joined by Walpole Town Clerk Elizabeth Gaffey for some important details about the upcoming 2025 town election. Hi Liz, thank you for being here today.
Glad to be here.
Could you start by describing what the town clerk's office is focusing on in the weeks leading up to the election?
So as the candidates had pulled nomination papers earlier, all the deadlines have passed. The last day to obtain nomination papers was the end of March. They were all due back to the town clerk's office April 1st and then given to the Board of Registrars, who today at 5 o'clock will have finished certifying all of them. So that's what we're working on, figuring out the ballot and all the candidates.
And this year's town election will be held on a Tuesday as opposed to a Saturday in previous elections. Can you tell us about what prompted that change?
Right. Well, it's been a decision in the making for quite a few years, actually. The first Saturday in June, it's a little tough one for poll workers to work for us because the next day, as you know, the first Sunday in June is always the Walpole High School graduation. So people are prepping for that. And then after Memorial Day, it's really hard to get a decent attendance, a decent turnout, and a decent pool of workers. So we thought that if everybody's used to all the state elections to be a Tuesday, so Tuesday seems to be an election day. So we brought that idea to town meeting that voted it to pass to be the third Tuesday in May. We did a special legislation for that. So going forward, it will be the third Tuesday in May, whatever day that is, just like it was the first Saturday in June. So we're hoping that, one, we're catching you before Memorial Day weekend. You'll be more attuned to probably voting on a Tuesday. So it's Tuesday, of course it's an election day. So we are doing a lot to advertise it for, this is our first year having it on a Tuesday.
Voter turnout in the 2024 town election was 11%, which was a 2% increase from the 2023's 9% voter turnout. Is that upward trend expected to continue?
Well, again, hoping that the Tuesday works. We're always looking for an upward trend for the local election. That's always a tough one to bring them in. It was a great one for last year because it was an uncontested ballot for the most part. So to get that turnout, we were very happy. We do have some contested races this year, so we're hoping for a better turnout if people take a look at the sample ballots that'll be up online on the town clerk's webpage.
In the 2024 election, again, the majority of voters opted to cast their ballots by mail. Can you tell us about the process of voting, of a mail-in vote, and how people can go about voting that way?
Sure. So it looked like that last year, that it was a lot of vote by mail because the state does send out postcards that ask you how would you like to receive your state ballot by mail, in person, early vote in person. So if you picked all elections, that did include the annual town election. So that's why the uptick in last year's town election to be mostly vote by mail. So you can vote through the mail, either absentee or the no excuse vote by mail, because the absentee, you do need 3 reasons to vote absentee. It's that you're out of town, it's against your religious beliefs, or you're physically disabled to get there. The vote by mail is a no excuse, it's open to anybody. So to get those, to receive your ballot by mail, you need to send in an application. And it can be on the form, it can just be in writing, just as long as we have your signature, requesting that you have that ballot. But it is something that has to be done annually. You can't, just because you voted by mail last year, doesn't automatically put it. They expire December 31st of that year, so you have to apply every year whenever. You can walk in and request it, you can leave your request at the town clerk's counter, or you can mail in the request, whatever you want to do. But the last day to ask for a vote by mail ballot is 5 days before the election.
What role do poll workers play in helping to facilitate the election?
So the poll workers are, excuse me, very important for us. They are the first friendly face that you see when you come into a polling location. They can direct you if you're in your wrong precinct. They also make it just very comfortable. You probably know them. They could possibly be your neighbor or a friend of the family or something like that. So it makes it just comfortable, and they're an integral part because they do understand the process. They're very good at what they do. They're trained. We do have a lot of loyalty with them. They do return for every election that we do unless they're out of town. So they are very essential for us to get to perform the election work that needs to be done.
For those who are voting in person on May 20th, can you tell us where the different polling locations are and what times they'll be open?
Sure. So all the polls will be open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So if you're in precincts 1 and 2, you will vote at Old Post Road School. If you're in precincts 3, 4, and 5, you will vote at Blackburn Hall. And if you're in precincts 6, 7, 8, you will vote at the Fisher School. For the state and federal elections, we do have sub-precincts 2A and 5A, but for a town election, you would fall under precinct 2 at Old Post Road, and for precinct 5A, you would fall into precinct 5 over at Blackburn Hall. And it is 8 to 8, so it is 12 hours of voting on Tuesday, May 20th.
Can you tell us about the process of tallying write-in votes in the election?
Yes. So if you put a write-in in, those are tallied at the end of the night. So the original count that we get is just what's on the tabulator itself. Then those tapes are printed out, and those are given to the registrars who bring them back to my office. Then the tally teams are then there the rest of the night until we have figured out how many write-ins that we have. So the unofficial results will probably just be the tapes, and then when I do the official results, it's with the write-ins. So they get tallied just like you would think. If there's, John Doe, and a tick mark for every time John Doe got voted for. If it's only once, that's okay. I could have 10 people that only get one vote. We just see how it goes. But every vote is counted. Every write-in is counted. And then if it makes a difference, it's shown on the official results. You will have unofficial results that evening, and then probably by that Friday, so it's a Tuesday election, by Friday we'll have the official results.
And can you tell us what happens in the event where there's a tie for a certain seat?
A tie for an RTM would get decided at the next town meeting. The RTM members of that precinct will then caucus, and the two of them will get up and say a speech why they believe they are good for that open seat that they tied for, and then they make the fellow RTMs make the call for that precinct.
Can you tell us about the process of either checking one's voter registration status or registering for the first time?
Sure. So most people are registered to vote at 16, or when you apply for your permit, that is part of the process. They do ask you that question. If you're new here, you can register to vote. It's 10 days before the election is the last day to register to vote. You can do that online, or you can do that at our office. You can always check your status by going to mass.gov, going to the elections division, and there's a link there to check your voter status. I also have that link on the Town Clerk website. If you go to our homepage, on the left-hand side in the blue boxes, it'll say election information, and then you can scroll down to the election information you're looking for. And also, if you did vote by mail, either absentee or traditional vote by mail, you can track your ballot and see where it is. Have we received it, and did we scan it in? That's about all you're going to see, is that we got it and it's been put into the system.
Why is it important to participate in the town election?
Okay, so the town election is really your most important, and it's where you really have the biggest say, honestly, because it's just your town and how you feel about your local politicians, representative town meeting members, being your select board, your moderator, your assessor, your sewer and water, your school committee. It's everybody. You might know them. You're able to talk to them. It's a little bit more informal. You get to know these candidates, and that's where you get your biggest say. You get to know what they're really about, instead of being part of a big state election where you're a little removed. There's just so many people for the same thing. So it's really the one which is going to touch your life directly. So that's why really important to show up Tuesday, May 20th.
Well, Liz, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me. I think this was really important, and hopefully it's very helpful to all the residents in Walpole.
And thank you all so much for joining us today. Don't forget to check your registration status and be sure to vote in the 2025 town election on May 20th. Polls will be open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. For Walpole Media, I'm Jessica Kurgo.